If you're new to woodworking 2025 or at that beginner level, don't worry, I've got you covered. Here's 3 beginner level projects that are going to help you practice some basic skills. All 3 projects are aimed at that beginner level, but stick around for number 3. The results are far better than beginner. Just received an order this morning for one of these up here, a rustic wine chiller for the garden. I've got till Wednesday, maybe push it till Thursday. The lady also wants a garden bottle opener, typically not the type I've already got, so I'm going to have to build that. And it's also going to be a bit of a test to see how quickly I can turn an order around. So we're going to have a timer up here and let's see how we get on. So I've got my materials for this build. Got 2 lengths of deck board. I'm going to create a box around the tub to hold ice for the wine. Nothing fancy. So the first thing to do is take some measurements so we know how big to make this box. Once it's marked out, I use a miter saw to cut it down. But being honest, you could use a circular saw and set square, or even just a hand saw. Right guys, I've planed the boards, I've cut them, so I've got 8 pieces, 4 short, 4 long, and here we are, this is what we've got. Now depending on how rustic you're going to leave this, you can either do no sanding or just take it to 120 grit. The lasering is of course optional. I'm lucky enough to have one. Well, a nice little bit of engraved detail there, just as the customer asked for. We're now on with the gluing up. It's a dab in each corner, followed by some clamps or bands. I like to use both. Right, we're about 90 minutes in now. Every clamp I've got is on this thing yet again, and you can start to see how it's going to look. There we go. About another 20 minutes in on this, a little bit of light sanding, put some supports in the bottom, and that should just hopefully raise that up slightly. First part made, under 2 hours. We've just got a quick little bottle opener to do. Add this engraving while I've been doing other bits, so it's just a quick little glue and clamp it together. How is it that something so small takes so many bloody clamps? Right, it's Wednesday now. Really got to get this finished. No time to waste. Just got to get this smashed through and done. Now then guys, I don't know about you, but I seem to lose so much time looking for my phone in and around workshop. I put it down, it gets buried by stuff, I can't find it. So I'm going to do something about it. I'm going to build myself a little phone holder. Now the great thing with projects like these is that they're good for both beginners and for clearing out your scraps bin. This project's also great for practicing your accuracy. Perfect. So now we've got the piece that we want, it's time to rip it down to size. This one fit lovely and just needed cutting in half. Next it's on to marking out. You need a piece at 9 inches and one at 6 inches. I've recently upgraded all my blades to 80 teeth. The difference in cut is absolutely amazing. So you can see the basic design coming together. 2 pieces I'm going to have half a slot each and place together. I always like to use something for a reference instead of just going off marking. First I use my phone and then I use the thickness of the other piece of wood to make sure that I've got a hole the right size. First of all, I tried removing this by drilling a small pilot hole and then using the bandsaw. But my bandsaw isn't strong enough. I changed tack quickly, went back to the table saw, this time using my miter gauge instead of the fence. Taking multiple passes, I clear out all the material, checking to see if it fits and sneaking up on that cut. Once you're happy with where you've got and it's not too tight, it's not too loose, it should slot together nicely, and you can start to see how this thing's going to come together. I'm always a fan of checking, making sure everything fits well before you move on. It's everyone's favourite part next, sanding. Now I was quite lucky, with this being leftovers from another project that had been milled up. There wasn't that much to do, just a little bit round over on the corners. I did of course have the bandsaw damage to try and repair. Now with these only being little, I was able to get my rag out with a little bit of excess polish on and just give them a quick wipe over before one final fit to make sure that I'm happy with how it's going to look. Oh, that's the one. And there you go, one very simple phone stand build. And once you've got one, it's amazing how easy you can use that prototype to make loads of others. Now we can make any design that you want as easy or as complex as you like. Thanks for watching. If you've taken anything from this video, consider giving me a like and subscribe, really helps me out. The humble pallet, we've all got one, or you can find one, tucked up behind some bin somewhere. These things are literally everywhere you go. But what if I told you there was an easy way to make the humble pallet board into some fine looking furniture using nothing other than something you learnt at school and 2 cuts. Now, those 2 simple cuts are quite simply just 2 30-degree angled cuts on your miter saw. Now, if I've made this sound rather simple, I've got to be honest with you, it is a little bit more complicated. You've got dozens of these cuts to make, and that thing you learnt at school, it's quite simply maths. 3 30-degree cuts equals 90, and what does that create? An optical illusion. So stick with me, and let's get on with this build. Now for this project, you're going to need some different shades of wood. Now you can either get lucky in one pallet, or you can get a couple of different pallets to help you. From there, it's a case of clamping them together and starting to clean them up. I do this primarily by running them through the planer. And we've got a bit of a jig set up here. What that's going to do is give us a 30-degree cut, which on this saw has a positive stop. And as we slide it in, that should cut nicely every time. Now the trick to getting this to work is to make sure that your length and your width are exactly the same, otherwise it doesn't fit. Right, that's all of the boards cut down. There's a little bit of tear out on a lot of them, so it's on to sanding. Now, there's a bit of a cheat to this. A 0 clearance fence and an 80-tooth miter saw blade don't half cut down on that sanding. So I've gone for a loose fit. First of all, just to make sure I've got enough pieces, but 2 to see how it goes together. If you can see, I've got 3 different shades of wood. I've made sure all 3 grain patterns are going in different directions. And the effect, when you start to look at it, it's pretty damn good. Now on their own, these pieces aren't going to be stable enough for a tabletop. So I've been in the scrap pile and dug out an old piece of shelving that I can mount them on. This should keep it all nice and rigid. As you can see, this board is too wide for my miter saw. So my top tip here is to flip it over mid-cut and continue from the other side. Now before we get on to putting the pieces down themselves, I'm going to make the border now. I'm hoping I can do this so it will help hold the pieces in place. A couple of clamps should keep this nice and tight. I don't think you'll quite see that in any woodworking textbooks, but it's got some tension on it, which is better than nothing. It was at this point that I went on to make one of the biggest mistakes of this build. Because I have no patience, I crack straight on and try to glue it all up in one go. I can't even describe to you the time pressure this put me under. Now that we're all glued up, I'm really impressed with how this has come out. I'm really pleased with it. It needed a little bit of sanding just to make sure everything's level. I've trimmed down the ends, stuck a small round over on it, and then got to sanding through the grits. For the base, I'm going with some hairpin legs. They're a classic look with pallet wood and always come out really well. We're moving on to finishing now, and because I'm so pleased with how it's come out, I'm going to use some Odie's oil on this to really enhance the 3D effect. This stuff's amazing, lovely and thick until you give it a good stir, and it smells truly amazing. Drizzle a little bit on a stick and buff it in, leave for a short time and buff it back out again. I'm really pleased with the sheen that's come up on this. And there we go, a fully functioning coffee table. Not usual run of the mill, other than a couple of bits where I should have selected a bit better wood. You can't tell this is pallet wood. Absolutely amazed at how this come out. It's going to take pride of place in my living room. And there you go, 3 beginner projects to get you started for 2025. Don't forget to like and subscribe. There's plenty more build videos coming in the future and a huge back catalogue of videos that will help you begin in your woodworking journey. Thanks for watching.